Greetings, sending you all to more positive vibrations. This is Body-Culinary. And I just decided to come on just briefly, just to chat about something or to have a dialogue around social media sadness. And is there really such a thing? I'm sitting here cutting some vegetables in my regular activities. And usually I'm doing some research sometimes in between other tasks. Something comes across my feed. I'm sure that's an expression many of us say, something just came across my feed. Because, social media is not free. Our behaviors and what we click on, the data is mined in order to drive advertising. Anyway, in any event, some videos come across my feed, and, they have a eye-catching thumbnail about several of them. This place scanned me for my BBL, or my BBL, basically like a BBL gone wrong, like several videos on that. So, curiosity, I click on one of them, and there's a young woman. She was sharing about her experience with her BBL, and I felt really sad. Now, I could easily get some responses. It's none of your business. Or you say something, you don't even twist and oil your hair. However, I'm just going to say, sometimes I don't want to talk about certain topics on here because when you say your perspective, many of us are sensitive. Sometimes your perspective, it can be taken as polarizing. People jump into different camps, sometimes in a mob-like fashion. However, I do feel that my perspective or my insight could perhaps be valuable to a young woman that may be considering to alter herself. Now, let me say, I'm not the food police. I'm not the hair police. I'm not the body police. It's just one woman's expression. By the way, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Body-Culinary, professional chef, personal trainer, natural-born woman, lover of natural lifestyle, as close as I can get to it in the times we're living in. And on this channel, I love to share some of my journey of radical self-acceptance, really accepting, celebrating, being creative with my divinely assigned teachers. Not just for a healthy sense of vanity, also for health, and also an effort to be very protective of my esteem. And folks looking to sell me solutions that I recognize patterns can actually destabilize my esteem or compromise my esteem. Solutions that, if I don't get this scent or this product or this clothing item, have an undertone of a message that I'm not worthy or that I won't be chosen. And I think that is something that many of us women contend with. So I share my journey of radical self-acceptance with someone with very, very fine hair, kinky cottony hair. I've had all kinds of natural hairstyles. One time I had a jerry curl and a gold tooth. That was natural back in the day. So one time way back in the day in high school, I tried to live on for a while. I didn't feel that comfortable. So, and I can appreciate creativity, so I'm not here to condemn anyone for their choices. That's not my place. I don't have the ability to. However, I do feel concerned. I feel concerned, and I feel that in the times that we're living in, it's become so that it's almost like you're penalized or in a mob-like fashion, people will attack if you have a different perspective, if you speak up for what you feel, if you don't feel all-inclusive in certain areas because you have certain boundaries, that's treated a certain kind of way today. But in any event, this young woman is sharing about her BBL, and I'm looking at her ascertaining her age, and I just felt so sad. It seemed that so much is hinged on the way that we look, like we're altering ourselves. And I was just thinking, let's say in the next 10, 20 years, right? Because it's still relatively new procedures, right? Well, especially if we look at how many Afro-American women in particular, and I draw attention, it's not exclusive to us, but I point out and make a distinction with Afro and Afro-American women because our cultural aesthetic has never been a very slim aesthetic. Now, keep in mind, the continent of Africa, which I was not born on, is a whole continent with 52 countries plus in it. So we have areas like Senegal where women are very lean. We have some areas where in Ghana, other parts where, being fit is looked at, with esteem, as if you're fed and you're wealthy. So all of those things exist. So definitely as an Afro person in the Americas, I don't feel like we grew up with such a thing about thick women, or I don't know. And every now and then you might hear a crack on the butt, but we just didn't. I don't feel like we were preoccupied with it so much. And the dangers, when you think of like if they have recalls of what are going to be the long-term repercussions, perhaps, of these really intense chemicals put into our bodies, right? Our bodies go through different phases of life, puberty, adulthood, childbearing years, then menopause, and the jury is out. The jury is out, and it seems we just put our trust, and it's really not to make it bad or wrong. We put our trust so blindly in folks that are selling something to us for profit, and that's my concern. That's number one. It's a conflict of interest. Number two, the long-term effect on our health. Number three, the potential. Well, I don't know if we're thinking like, what if you get the procedures and your mind doesn't change about yourself? If your esteem, if the temporary, if the feeling of I'm better, I fix myself, doesn't equate to more attention or attention from the person that you want, or the fantasy or the wishes that you start altering yourself will get you. Then what? Is low esteem reactivated? Is it compounded? Is it made greater? If you don't get the kinds of responses, if you don't get chosen as a wife by the type of person you want, what happens then? I don't know if the psychological components are spoken about as much. And I feel that women, in particular Afro women, many other women as well, but I'm speaking as a woman of Afro descent, we have so much already to contend with. And this is why I have made a choice to choose confidence and health over beauty, because it's a moving goalpost. BBLs are in now. What about when they're no longer in? And, it appears one of the young ladies that's popular, that's married to Mr. Kanye West. I don't follow these people, but sometimes they come up on your feed. It appears that she took her alteration out of her massage to fit into a famous celebrity's dress, Marilyn Monroe, and it appears that she took her alteration out. And then I think of, what about all of these women that follow this celebrity to attain these features, and now you can't take it out. You've done permanent damage to yourself, and you don't have access to the funds. I've listened to this young lady also talk about in the package, the add-ons in the package, massage. So I have massage therapists in my family, and have enjoyed a lot of massages in my lifetime. And just what it will take to take the artificial alteration to maintain it and sustain it. If it moves around, it seems like, I don't know, there's a drive. Like, I wonder where this drive is coming from. I think a lot of it comes from the music videos and from popular culture. And I just feel like, I don't know, I just felt so sad I'm not going to stay there, but I just felt so sad for the women of today. Like, what we'll do. I think very natural inclinations for validation and to be heard, which ideally would come from our parents, is being exploited, and insecurities are being exploited in a very cult-like fashion, with following these personalities and these dreams and fantasies that we have once we alter our bodies. I can say, as someone that's been in the fitness industry, that's changed my physique naturally several times just through fitness. I've been around some of the most beautiful sculpted physiques in the world, And similar to models, people would be very amazed to find that some of these drop-dead gorgeous people with the six-pack of life have low esteem or, things they do to maintain a physique that is not natural. There's stress, that there's a drive, like a manic drive, to appear a certain way to strangers. And the vast majority of fitness competitors don't get sponsorship. So it's actually a very expensive sport. So also come back to the BBL, looking at these videos trending. The videos trending, when with the little teardrop, emoji, and stuff, I was scammed. I thought of one of the titles is I was scammed by this particular center that did their procedure. And another one, I'm sure there's a whole area sector of YouTube of folks that are dissatisfied with the procedure, and then people take before and after. And it's so interesting because I think, people, and I get it, turn on the camera. This says to me a lot of us, and it's not making bad or wrong observation, don't have people that we're relating to, so we're coming online to communicate to strangers. Right now I'm talking to some strangers. I think, and I'm sharing my thoughts, I think, though, in terms of healthy boundaries, I don't know, it's like there's something, you gotta be very careful. All of us, I'm not immune, be careful of this need for this fantasy validation from a like, because it definitely is, there's research on it that it affects a chemical in the brain. It affects dopamine, the validation, and it's actually addictive. But yet it doesn't have the substance, because a lot of times you're speaking to people that no offense don't really care, and even if they did care, what could they do? If you alter yourself and you have a complication, I know folks that have altered themselves and had complications. I know folks that have altered, had certain surgeries, and then after put all the weight back on, and then their immune systems and their gut was compromised. So the fantasy that's being sold to us, and I just think like, wow, folks could be having a great therapeutic time exercising at home and really build a solid foundation of esteem just by having a movement practice, aka exercise, and just by learning how to eat healthy food and learn how to prepare it so it's just as delicious as the stuff we're eating out in the street. So I was feeling kind of sad. Like, is this a legacy that is waiting for girls 5 and 6 years old? Is this what's waiting for them, that will be the norm for them to seek to alter their buttocks? And these are painful procedures, and there's a lot of risk. Will it just be the norm that everyone focuses more on altering the physical presentation of your breasts that are designed to drop at some point, whether you have children or not? Is this the legacy? Or any of us stopping to think critically and not even making that bad or wrong, making a step, we say they do this or people that, but I'm all included in it too, because I know I was in the mirror sniffing my nose to try to look like Michael Jackson. So I honestly submit that we're highly programmable beings. We follow fashion. A lot of times we go with groupthink. We're easily programmed. We're easily triggered, especially if somebody has been traumatized individually and or collectively. And I admit it. It's a saying. I don't like all sayings. They're not all effective. But there's a saying, call the devil by his name and release his power over you. So to admit, we're so intellectual, perhaps we don't want to admit that we have very real insecurities about ourselves. And sometimes to call it out, and let's say, for example, I have stretch marks from having a child. That's precious. Why would I be feeling a way about stretch marks? My body changes from a child. That is something that is prevalent in this popular culture. And these things stay with us for a lifetime. They get piled on and piled on and piled on. So I don't have all the answers. And I'm not here to make somebody wrong for wanting to alter themselves. If my tooth got knocked out, I would replace it. If I was burned in a fire, I would replace it. It's not to me to put my standards and litmus test on someone else. However, I'm just making the distinction because I think that certain conversations are not being had, or maybe there's a lot of women and young women that don't feel like they have a safe space to be vulnerable and have certain conversations about insecurities. I remember a good friend of mine when I was coming out. Well, no, we were young women. Yeah, so we were traveling. to get to a company, and she was very, 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 very slim, white. Some people say skinny, and she would put on a couple of pairs of jeans, and I thought that was so odd. But I guess to her, she was feeling a way about being very slim. So just that internal pressure, that psychological pressure, we have so much else to contend with in terms of our safety. And then there's feeling like, oh, the biological clock, so many of us can choose any old person to procreate with, which could be setting up and contributing to breeding narcissists because we're not able to give them the stability, the emotional and mental, as well as the financial stability that they need. And so then if we don't do that, if we don't have children, then a lot of us, again, deal with those six basic fears that I've mentioned before on this channel. Fear of, please remember them all. Fear of death, fear of old age, fear of loss of love and never finding love, fear of criticism, let's see, loss of love, criticism, death, old age, fear of poverty. There's one more, I always pick one. But these are basic primal fears that are exploited all the time in what is marketed to us online. Greetings, Emily. And so there are women that come to this channel, and some men too. The women that come to this channel from different ethnic backgrounds. There's definitely a lot of Afro women, some women from the diaspora in New York, from the Caribbean, from Africa. And I just wonder, I've always for years think of that woman's tent or that rite of passage, or where's that place that women and young women feel a safe space to go to ask questions, to ask and get some real answers. Not just have a woman say, well, I found out, let them find out on their own. You know, sometimes I just really feel like just certain conversations to give you some insight could save you years of heartache in terms of just your decision-making process, because there's certain decisions that we make that will alter the trajectory of your life. And quite honestly, in my simple perspective, women, we don't bounce back like that from being mishandled, from placing ourselves in situations where we're going to be mishandled, or in making decisions to parent ill-prepared, having no clue about communication skills or who the person is that we're parenting with, not comprehending the magnitude of how whatever paperwork you have, you are joined together and will have to deal with these two other human beings. The magnitude is not hitting us, and I think a lot of the popular entertainment dumbs us down. Everything is so funny. Everything is a joke. I'm not a prude. I like to laugh too, but a lot of things don't sound to me as funny. Maybe I'm just looking long term, but it's not funny. A lot of it is not funny. I've seen on the butt of the joke all the time. A lot of times it desensitizes us to the urgency of making well thought out life decisions, right, that affect us and other people. And can a lot of times leads into a lifelong alteration of your reproductive organs, your mental, emotional stability, which how you're supposed to be creative and thrive economically when your emotional and mental stability are compromised quite often as a result of our decision making. So, you know, I just think all of these things are observant as they're connected. It's just like I feel like we're at such a deficit. As much we go online and we affirm and, hey girl, yeah, you look fabulous, somehow it's not reading, and I see it reflected. This is not just in younger women, you know, which women we have the right to do whatever, but even women, young women, 14, 15, and 16, considering alterations, they don't have the money to pay for it. In some countries, I had discussed it in a video on this channel called an impromptu beauty conference, that many young ladies in some parts of Asia look forward to getting money from their parents to have their eyes altered as a graduation present. I'm like, wow. I don't know. I don't feel that I'm overly sensitive. I feel like many of us are numb. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. I make an effort not to discuss, and sometimes I'm just wanting to discuss certain things, but there's such a troll vibration online. People are so polarized and it's so triggered, men and women, and folks, humans with different backgrounds. It's so easily triggered. It's hard for us to hear each other without hearing each other through the lens of our trauma or our biases. So I was just observing that it's so sad for young ladies. You know, what if it doesn't try? And here's the other thing that I'll say is that it didn't appear that the woman, um, it didn't appear, she didn't appear so healthy. So I could be wrong because I'm just looking through a screen, so there's a lot that you don't see. However, and the same thing with the different surgeries that we're having, if you're not already stabilized in healthy lifestyle practices, when you are at a healthy weight, not by somebody's opinion, but based on numbers, a healthy weight. When you have a regular movement practice, you regularly eat healthy food, not just for a surgery. That is your habit, and it's something that you sustain for a period of time. That you've done some type of internal work to reparent and put trauma, which most human beings have, into a perspective. A lot of unresolved trauma is often driving a lot of our behaviors. And it feels like we're seeking validation from ghosts and crazy people. From ghosts and crazy people, that's the best way I can put it. So y'all let me know, what do you think? Is it something not even to be concerned about? I know I'm gonna have a lot of people say, don't even make it, no, never mind. But I am a woman, I'm an auntie. Even as a young woman, I was very concerned about the things that I see. And actually, that's part of what my name means, which is, how funny is that? I'm very concerned by the things that I see. And it seems like we're getting to a point where folks won't speak up. Women won't speak up. We won't speak up for abuse, whether that's male or female. We don't speak up and stand on a square. We don't take a position. We're all inclusive of everything, and everything doesn't need to be all inclusive in terms of predators or with no vetting process. You know, even if we don't know everything, we can take the time. I make the effort to choose my words carefully. Well, also, I do have a perspective, and some of it is based on experience. I know that I don't know everything. But however, I feel genuine concern for women and girls, and we affect each other. I'm a mother, so we have boys and we have girls. I feel a genuine concern about our speed. And so I think part of the best thing that I can do is to share perhaps an insight in those lifestyle practices, peaceful consumption, garden therapy, and a personal movement practice. I think it is so, I get chills, it's so underestimated. I just wish women knew how wonderful you can feel. You're not going to lose weight in one workout. It's a sense of personal integrity that you have from safe, from challenging physical activity. You can actually generate energy when you feel like you don't have any. You can feel a sense of peace, of joy, just from moving your body. It's different than just sitting passively, not to make it wrong, but sitting passively in prayer. I've done all kinds of steps in religions and meditation. It's different. It's something that's yours, where you can feel athletic. It may be the only area where you feel a real tangible sense of power in your own life that you can control and that you can feel. Inviting you all to create a great rest of the day. Hopefully I'll see some of you in the evening for core and flexibility and flow. And then if you're joining me for intermittent fasting, aka Grandma's Blues, to turn off the light and go to bed, kitchen is closed. So the digestive system and the mind can get a rest and you get some good quality sleep. It's been doing me great because that's usually one of my Achilles heels is sleep and rest. That is at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're interested, check in the About section. There's a Discord link to come into the Body-Culinary service. You have to be able to identify you. And there's an application so I can match a name with an email. So celebrating the month of my birth, which is this month, also mango season, at 4:30 in the morning. There is deep breathing. There's deep breathing, relaxation, and journal writing. At 5 a.m. is Harriet squat workout. And At 12 noon, we usually do some, well, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, some kind of nutrition. It's all for the month of May. I'm sharing things that I like that touch me, so you're welcome. And the flyers in the community section. And let's see, 2 p.m. is nutrition, some kind of nutrition class and instruction. And 9 p.m. is flexibility flow. And then lights out, intermittent fasting, and resting your digestive system and your mind too the next day. So we're continuing that throughout the month of May. I love to come together around specific activities, right? We got plenty of channels talking about a whole lot of stuff. You can do that. However, I'd like you to consider if you're getting something back for the time, the very valuable currency of your time and attention, you can't get that back, right? So there's Whole Living Foods in the hood with menus to fit your budget. That is a guide to whole, fresh living foods as a lifestyle, not a diet, whatever label you want to call yourself. That should be yourself. And it's a wonderful thing to not have to be concerned about dieting. And then there's also natural beauty, no products. I used to have a lot of acne, cystic acne, whiteheads, blackheads, and it clears, not with chemicals from or anything from the health food store, products, or from the drugstore, right? And I tried proactive, I tried all of that stuff. It was whole, fresh living foods exclusively, and a movement practice with sweating, and pumping my lymphatic system. That's what cleared it up. The body knows what to do when we just get out of the way and stop feeding it substances masquerading as food. So I will tell you that likely you'll have to replace it with something, right? There's no way I would be able to maintain this lifestyle if I didn't have a whole lot to look forward to, right? So in this little corner of the internet, natural bodies matter. I'm affirming. Because I'm for me, and this expression doesn't mean I'm against someone else. So I will say I appreciate makeup. I appreciate the beautiful expressions, whether weaves, wigs, braids. We have the choice to express however we want to. This is the original option, though, and I think it's an untapped, for a long time, it's an untapped resource of esteem, right? I think some of us may be afraid to see what our edges look like, especially if you've got really fine hair, kinky, cottony, that doesn't do what all the tutorials do. What will it look like, you know? Some people might not consider this camp, but it's a practice. I might even call it a spiritual practice. Doesn't mean I don't like to luxuriate. Focusing on health and confidence over beauty and standing in my square. I deserve to age gracefully, because that is coming for us all. If I have a pimple or a dark spot, this is my body temple, my vehicle to express this life. And so it's not for me to go beg people to accept me or to give me compliments. It's really something to practice radical self-acceptance and health and confidence that comes from feeding it, right? And those lifestyle practices go a long way to that. All right, so I'm going to create a great rest of the day on purpose, and hopefully I'll see you this evening for pour, flow, and lights out. Go to sleep and get some deep breaths. See y'all.